Creating a life that is authentic, bold, and purposeful takes audacity and truth telling. It takes disruption. That is what it means to be a professional troublemaker. Professional Troublemaker is a best-selling book, this podcast, and frankly, a life habit. And I'm your host, Luvvie Ajayi Jones. I'm here to bring you perspectives, deep dives, and conversations about culture, business, life, and leadership. And welcome to Season 5, which I'm really excited about. This season is dedicated to the glory and grit of entrepreneurship. 2023 was my toughest year as a business owner, and there was a point where I was 3 months away from being bankrupt. So let's talk about it. Let's get really real about running your own business, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because while people love to glorify entrepreneurship, they often leave out the tough lessons, the failures, and the pivots that have had to happen. My hope after this series of episodes is that you feel more informed about what it truly takes to run a purpose-driven business. You feel less alone about all the times you messed up, and you walk away knowing what to avoid so you don't make some of the same mistakes I've made. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode. As you know, Season 5 is all about the glory and the grit of entrepreneurship. And I've been diving into the highs, which so far I have not talked about that many highs. It's been a lot of lows and some of the lessons that I've been learning. You know, it's been a journey for me too. And sharing how my company almost went bankrupt in 2023 was difficult, but I feel like I was convicted to tell the truth in a big way. I was convicted because I think we sit in silence so often, and what it does is it keeps all of us boxed because it makes us feel like we are alone in everything. We don't get any frame of reference. We don't get to compare notes because we're being silent. Now, is it our fault that we're quiet? No, we've been taught to figure it out ourselves. This individualistic culture that we live in, specifically in the United States or any Western cultures, has shamed us into figuring it all by ourselves, pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Those things, they don't serve us. And I'm very clear. And that's why I really wanted to make sure I dedicated this season to telling the hard truths, removing the curtain that doesn't show us the real, right? In between all the triumphs, there's a lot of struggle. So I have been hearing a lot of feedback from you all about this season, and that has meant a lot to me. As I've talked about my mistakes, my setbacks, my triumphs, they resonated with you, and that has been heartwarming to me. And the feedback that I've been getting about how you are feeling more seen and less alone, and because we all clearly were having the same wild 2023, it means a lot to me, and it's really what I wanted by doing this particular topic for the season of Professional Troublemaker. So we're in this together, y'all. Do not let the world convince you that you are alone, because the moment you feel isolated is the moment that you start to lose hope, and is the moment that you will start shaming yourself for your mistakes. And that should not be, okay? So coming on today to let you know that I've loved the feedback, and now I actually want to hear from you in a more concrete way. And entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It is a roller coaster, and sometimes we need a little guidance, a little inspiration, and a lot of real talk. So you can now go to askluvvie.com to ask me anything business related, whether it is how to scale your business, how to deal with setbacks, or you just want to know what keeps me motivated during tough times. You can go to askluvvie.com, put your questions in there, and I might answer it on a future podcast episode. Okay? So when you submit your questions there, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to see what's going to be most helpful for people. And here's the thing. Don't be shy. There's no question that is too big or too small. You know I keep it real. You know I'm going to tell you the truth. I want to hear what you actually need. I want to hear what your pain points are, and maybe I can help, you know? So yeah, go to askluvvie.com, put your questions in there, and I might answer it on a future episode. So yeah, that's really why I wanted to do this episode. The other thing is I still owe y'all a rebuild episode, which is where I'm going to talk about how my company did not go under, how I was able to steer the ship and right the ship. So I will be coming with that shortly. And frankly, y'all, I am kind of still in the messy middle, but I'll tell y'all more about that in that rebuild episode. It's coming. It's coming. But stay tuned because I have some amazing episodes coming up. In one of them, I am in conversation with Dr. Joy Harden Bradford. She is a founder of Therapy for Black Girls. And I'm bringing her to the table because I wanted to hear from an entrepreneur and a therapist about how to navigate these moments, how to navigate business sustainably. And it's a really good conversation because Dr. Joy going to drop some gems on you at all times. You hear me? All times. So another call to action that I would love for you to consider to help me out, if you've been helped out by these episodes, grab a copy of my book, Professional Troublemaker, the Fear Fighter Manual. The work that I'm doing here, the courage that I'm using to show up, it's because I've made it a life habit. The reason why this podcast is called Professional Troublemaker is because of this book that I wrote in 2021 that is still transforming lives. So if you are listening to this episode, and if you've listened to any of the past episodes and you are inspired, it's been valuable to you, pick up a copy of Professional Troublemaker. Buy one for yourself, buy one for a friend, buy one for somebody that you know will benefit from hearing that their courage is needed to shift this world for the better. Because courage is what allows us to tell the truth. Courage is what allows us to go past the fear of looking bad and saying the thing anyway. So yeah, go to Ask Luvvie, drop your questions. I can't wait to dive into them and share my insights with you. And while you're at it, make sure you pass these episodes on to anybody who you think would find it useful. If you know anybody who could benefit from this, any entrepreneurs in your groups, send it to them. All right? Thank you for listening. And as always, keep disrupting, keep innovating, and keep making the world better than we found it. And keep telling the truth. Keep telling the truth. If you dig what you just heard and want to make sure you don't miss another episode of Professional Troublemaker, subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. And leave a review. Let the folks know this is valuable content. You can follow me at Luvvie everywhere on social media, Luvvie. And if you love this podcast, you'll love my newsletter, The Love Letter, LUVVLETTER.com. That's where you go sign up, and it's my weekly note on all things culture, business, and leadership. Tap in all over and talk to you on the next episode.